Good morning everyone, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Shadowrun Hong Kong. Where we left off last time, we completed Isabel's mission and we got some programs for her. Probably we're going to go talk to her quickly and then we will probably do another mission. Oh, there's a bunch of things here. You enter the trawler to find your crew gathered together waiting for you. Isabel has her head buried in her PDA, the rest of them stand watching her trying to be patient. Did someone call a crew meeting? I told you I'm the one who gets to call crew meetings. Actually no, just what's going on? Isabel paces up and back, trying to decide how to begin. I've been doing my homework on Josephine Sang and Sang Medical Services, or Mechanical Services. I assume it's just a standard run-of-the-mill mechanical services company. Actually, as far as I can tell, it is. Isabel lifts her PDA to her face and consults her notes. In 2011, Sang Mechanical Services was a D-level corp floundering in the shallow end of Hong Kong corporate pool. That's when Josephine Shu married into the family. Josephine thought big. She conceived of a massive project that would catapult TMS into the big time. Something she called the Prosperity Project. Prosperity? That's what Raymond was mumbling about. What does any of this have to do with Raymond? It has nothing whatsoever to do with Raymond Black, and it has everything to do with Edward Sang. Then, let me guess, Josephine's husband or son? Son. Duncan's jaw drops open. What? No, come on. Raymond Black is actually Edward Sang, the only son of Josephine Sang and her late husband Breakwater Sang. So our secret foster grandmother is trying to kill us. It looks that way, yeah. Rector chuckles softly to himself. Secret grandmother? What the hell's going on, Isabel? Start from the beginning. Okay, here we go. Once upon a time, in the 1900s, the walled city was a densely populated slum, something like 30,000 people crammed into 6.5 acres. Wait, I've heard the story before. It's a shithole, hell on earth, yada yada yada. That's today's walled city, the second walled city. The first walled city started well over 100 years ago, and lasted through both world wars and almost through the Awakening. It was torn down in 1994 when the government finally had enough. It had become such a haven for criminals that the cops would only enter it in large, well-armed groups. Sounds familiar? In 2021, Josephine Sang proposed a vision for a new type of low-income housing project, the Prosperity Project, a self-contained, low-cost walking neighborhood for the poor, but on a grand scale. The Prosperity Project would give Hong Kong's poor and the flood of refugees pouring into the city a place that they could call home, something that felt more permanent than the sprawling tent city that spontaneously sprang up after the first walled city was demolished. She got the grand scale, right? It's a giant hellhole. Isabel's response is flat as a board. No kidding. The Prosperity Project would replace the tent city and would be symbolically built on the site of the old walled city. The slogan was, a place of dignity where prosperity begins. And ends, apparently. The apartments weren't much bigger than the space you'd get in your average coffin motel, but they were built around plazas and marketplaces that contained goods and services catering to the poor. Like drug dealers and prostitutes. This sounds just like the first walled city. The government forgot the lessons of the last walled city. They loved the idea of containing the refugees and the poor to only a few densely populated blocks. It kept them out of the public eye. Kept the tourists happy too. Isabel gives Gobbet a flat, shut up expression. Gobbet smirks in reply. Securing the walled city job was the first step towards Sang becoming what it is today, toward putting Josephine Sang on the executive council. One slum made her rich? It wasn't the slum that made her rich. From what I read, the walled city was a disaster. By all accounts, her Prosperity Project should have landed her in the poorhouse. That wasn't what happened, though. After the walled city went up, TMS landed contract after contract, huge, lucrative ones. Nobody knows why, and those were the jobs that propelled TMS into the big time. So where's Raymond in all of this? Not Raymond, Edward. Edward Sang was in charge of laying the groundwork for the walled city, excavation and utilities, running power lines, sewage, that kind of thing. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Remember that massive grey water leak that flooded the basement back in 48? When we got back from that camping trip in the Salish? Ray screamed bloody murder about that. Wu nods, smiling. I've never seen him so angry. He sobers, but did Raymond know how to fix it? No. Ray didn't know the first thing about sewer lines. He hired a small army of plumbers, probably paid him double what the job was worth to fix the thing, and it still took almost 2 months to get the leak under control. And Josephine put him in charge of the utilities? No wonder the walled city smells like that. I don't think Raymond had anything to do with the utilities in walled city. So if this man was not in charge of the utilities for the project, what was he doing down there? I don't know, but Edward Sang disappeared from the public eye shortly after Prosperity was completed, around 2031. That's around the time he moved to Seattle. About 7 years before he found us. What happened in the walled city, and what would make Raymond want to go back there now after all these years? I don't know, but I intend to find out. Oh, that was the abrupt end of the conversation. Oh, I see. Okay, let's go talk to Isabel because I want to figure out if she's unlocked her memory brain programs. Isabel half turns away from the octopus's main display. She looks up at you, blinking. The memory stick that you had acquired from Rhombus has already been slotted into one of the computer's many expansion ports. The cherry red plastic that sheathes the stick looks slick and wet in the light. You did good back there. That run went well. Her eyes flit down to the memory stick. We got the stick, the key to my old memories. All I have to do now is slot it. You haven't done it yet? No, not yet. I mean, I can. It'd be as simple as plugging myself in and tapping a key. My old memories are all mine if I want them. So what are we waiting for? Go ahead and do it. That's easy for you to say. I know that I have to do this, but it isn't going to be pleasant. Imagine knowing you had to jam a needle in your eye. How much of a hurry would you be in to do it? If I knew it had to happen, I'd want to get it done over with quick. How very stalwart of you. For my part, I'm in no hurry to experience pain, and I have every reason to believe that this is gonna hurt. It isn't easy, you know, shifting organic memories into headwear storage, wiping the originals, and locking them away for safekeeping. That's corporate level mind sculpting. Serious business. Locking the files away was important to you, I got that. Very important. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have let an amateur tinker with my brain in the corner of a derelict shopping mall. Whatever I've got up there, I was desperate to get rid of it. Makes a girl wonder why. Tell me, Isabel, would it have been easier for you to just have Rhombus wipe away the memories altogether? She blinks. Yes, much easier. Still not without risk, but you didn't do that. You had to move them into storage. Why? There's a long pause, because I knew that one day I might need them. And today's that day. We need information on the walled city, and whatever's locked away up there could help. Another long pause. Isabel stares at her feet, thinking. Finally, she looks back up at you. You're right, I know that. I knew it before we went to get the code. I just needed to talk through it with somebody. Not Gobbet, someone who could take the situation seriously. I needed to talk through it with you. Hey, that's what I'm here for. Without another word, she pulls a cable from a pile on the floor and slots it into her data jack. The other end disappears into one of the octopus's many brains. Her fingers fly across the octopus's keyboard, rattling off a series of audible clicks. Finally, her thumb hovers over the execute key. Alright, Eltimar, wish me luck. The key depresses with an audible click. Isabel's eyes flutter and her cheeks flush with blood. No. No. She starts shaking her head from side to side, wringing her hands. A progress bar on the octopus's auxiliary monitor slowly climbs. Oh, fuck. What's happening, Isabel? Are you okay? The progress bar climbs to 100. Isabel snatches the cable out of her data jack and covers her eyes with her hands. She's shivering. She clutches her temples in the palms of her hands. Now I remember why I didn't want these anymore. Bad stuff, huh? That's an understatement. This isn't okay, not at all. I can remember things that happened to friends of mine, to relatives, things that I watched happen. No. It's okay, Isabel. Breathe. They're memories. They can't hurt you. Yes, they can. Her voice is ragged, raw. These memories are crystal clear. It's like all of this shit happened yesterday. I can remember watching friends die, and I can see their screaming faces just as clearly as the day it happened. It's like watching a Trid show, but it's my life and it's real. Isabel, focus. Is there anything in there that can help us? She screws her eyes shut in concentration. Beads of sweat hang heavy on her brow. I think so, yes. It'll take some time for me to sift through all of this. She opens her eyes again and looks up at you. I'll hold on to these memories for as long as I can. Hopefully long enough to reveal something useful. No promises beyond that, though. Thank you, Isabel. Don't thank me yet. I can still crack in half an hour and lock away the files. She gives you a weak half smile. Gonna do my best not to, though. One thing does jump out at me. Rhombus archives some software up there. She taps her temples with a fingernail. It's sitting on top of memories, all wrapped up like a present. Don't know why he did it, but it looks like a combat package. A combat package, you say? She nods weakly. Some sort of basic attack modification. I'll have to study it to be sure, but I think I can use it. There's some good news. Yeah, it's all very exciting, but for now, just give me some space, okay? She turns away shivering. Like I said, it's going to take me some time to make sense of this stuff. I'll give you some space then. She waves you away. Good, go, now. Alright, we're not going to go talk to anyone else, because I think that the other mission was just about Isabel, and I don't think we're going to need to discuss it with our other teammates. We're going to go instead to do another mission. This game is way more talk-heavy than Shadowrun Returns or even Dragonfall. Like, it's pretty impressive how much lore and story they put into this so far. Although the combat is much easier, it seems, so far anyways. Let's go to... travel to Shangri-La, kidnap Rooster. Whampoa Garden. Yeah, let's go do a murder investigation. I think that sounds like a good plan. Not you. You. And that will be it. Confirm. I'm going to Whampoa Garden. Continue. Yes, let's do this thing. I need to move my... Can't see how far we are in the video. There we go, 10 minutes. Whampoa Garden, a carnival of chrome and neon, rife with every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market, save that chips are sold in lieu of steamed buns, and vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk art. Something stalks these streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Whampoan elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ozone and fear, and those Whampoans you pass in the MTR station have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before ordinary residents are menaced as well. That's fine, we don't need anything else. We just need our basic armor, our monofilament whip, and we're pretty happy. You have karma available. Right, I know you have karma available. We only have 6, it's not enough to worry about at the moment. The streets of Whampoa Garden are slick with rain and glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, painting the white apartment blocks a sickly orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other rarer scents, ozone, engine oil, and high fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are plenty of people out and about. You can hear the call of street vendors and touts urging people into their stores. Isabel wrinkles her nose, scowling darkly. She wraps her arms around her chest, staring off into the distance. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to leave again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feelings I had when I lived here. Saudade, maybe? Isabel shakes her head. No, that's not it. It's close, but... She lets the sentence trail off into nothingness, clamping her mouth shut for a moment. Isabel sighs heavily. This place seemed like heaven, after the walled city. Like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned there was a promise of a good life. Turns out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. Gobbet claps a hand on Isabel's shoulder, who flinches and pulls away. That's a great life lesson, Is. I'm serious. At the end of the day, life's a raw deal. You got yourself and a handful of friends, and that's it. Nothing else. A curious philosophy, Gobbet. Certainly no objective meaning can be applied to the human experience, but the sum total of culture and progress since the time of Homo erectus has shown that humans are capable of self-organizing into beneficial... Boring. Gobbet makes a show of yawning very loudly towards Ractor. Isabel turns towards you and points down the street to your left. We're looking for the Whampoan elders. They're going to be in the Whampoa itself. That's the big ship down the street. I've seen pictures. It looks like a yacht. She nods. Lips pursed. That's the one. Kind of hard to miss. It's been a fixture since late last century. These days it's just a squat. Shops are family affairs, not corporate ones. Anything I should know about the Whampoans? They're all tech heads, tinkerers, and self-taught scientists. Despite the fact that there's no formal education system, everyone here is pretty smart. They apprentice kids to skilled workers so they can learn a trade. Elder Gao taught me decking, and I left after she got brain fried trying to crack a Mitsuhama network. Elder Ip taught me to shoot. He should still be here. Come on, let's go see what they have to say for themselves. Everything is so morose. Everything is just like a sad undertone to it. Let's go wander around, though. Before we go into the Whampoa, let's go look. Let's go explore the streets. There are people, and some sketchy-looking people, but nowhere we can go or anyone we can talk to yet. Literally just the Whampoa. Possibly Whampoa. Literally no one. Okay, fine. I guess we're going inside because there's nothing else to do out here. Alrighty, we have Elder Nug. I guess we should probably talk to him because it looks like there's not a lot we can do here before talking to him. Must be a trigger or something. Alright, let's do it. This orc woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny trid screens and speakers. The trid screens display snippets of trid broadcasts from every corner of the world. The tiny speakers play counterpoint with a susurrus of voices speaking Sperthiel, Punjabi, Kazakh, and other languages. Her expression is haggard, yet she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Welcome to the Whampoa, my friend. I am Elder Nig, and these are Elders Tang and Ip. Nig gestures to the elf and the human, who incline their heads respectively. Actually, now that I think about it. Thank you so much for answering our requests for help. We had nowhere else to turn. It's the least I could do. Understanding skin, glowing tattoos writhe and change shape. Tigers become cranes and move to dragons. We're under threat, one by one. We elders are being hunted by some monster. As you may have noticed, when you arrived, there's been another killing just tonight. Ip crosses his solid chrome arms. Holographic readouts dance constantly over their surface, displaying diagnostic information about their state, operating temperature, servo pressure, and a variety of other minutiae. He looks past you towards Isabel, the prodigal daughter, returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Whampoa in my lifetime, Isabel. When you disappeared, Elder Yatund was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you chose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I still understood why you had to leave. Ip pauses, tasting the air, as he chooses his next words with care. I hope my lessons have helped me prosper. Didn't expect to be back either. Work takes you places, though. Isabel shrugs. A moment later, she places a hand on her pistol, eyes trained on Ip's shoes. I don't cart this around for fun, Ip. The lessons kept me alive. Isabel blinks several times and then looks up at her expression clouded. Where's Yatunda anyways? I expected her to be here. Shakes her head sadly. She reaches out a hand towards Isabel, who shrinks away from it. She's dead. So are Gan and Nakamura. And Tong was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. Isabel's expression remains impassive, but her knuckles grow white as her hands ball into fists. That's what we're here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isabel. Ing lifts a hand, wiping tears away from her eyes. What can you tell me about the murders? They started 2 weeks ago. The first to go was Gan. We found him in his apartment eviscerated. Ing swallows, grimacing at the painful memory. He'd been torn apart. His head had been ripped completely off, and most of his skin flayed away. There was so much blood it took us a week to clean out his apartment. Tang nods, running his palm over his forehead. The rest have been the same. Always at night, always dismembered. Each scene is like a nightmare, and every time nobody has seen anything. It's like a ghost. What happened to Tong? The same thing that happened to the rest of the victims. Evisceration and dismemberment. We sent a guard in to keep people out of his shop, but he'll let you in. When did he die? Sometime early tonight. He locked up his shop, but Ip stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked, and inside, Ing lifts her hands helplessly. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Seeing Ing's inability to continue, Ip takes over. Inside looks like a bad horror sim, just like all the other murders. It had to have happened after sundown, because I saw his shop open when I was on my way to get noodles for dinner. Why did you call the police? The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They tried to force us out several times before, or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and triads. Handle their matrix security, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to the Hong Kong Shadowlands hub. We're too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protect us when the HKPF or anyone else decides we're an easy target. They handle our physical security, and we make sure to send the message via the matrix. The last time HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chief's dirty laundry all over the TRID. They got pictures, and we got that picture and backed off. Have you made any enemies lately? Ing shrugs helplessly. Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We're not mercenaries or criminals. We're merchants and deckers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster, whatever it is. Plenty of metahumans are monsters too, Ing. Just because it's horrible doesn't mean it's supernatural. What do you guys do? Isabel snorts derisively. They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants, that's what. You're being unfair, Isabel. Our laws are for the good of the community. Tang turns to address you. We keep the Whampoa and its residents safe. We review trade agreements with outsiders to see if they're good for the community, provide a guiding vision, like a town council. I can respect that. Glad you understand. This community is fragile, and the authorities bear us a lot of ill will. A single misstep could spell our end. I'm the invoker of spirits. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings, and pass those blessings on to the people here. I heal the sick and ensure the feng shui of our habitats is as good as it can be, given our confines. She's a shaman, that's all. She's got some kind of kooky spin on it, claims her totem is some kind of all-encompassing machine god that lives in circuitry. Isabel pats her deck, looking at Ing. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck is mine. I built it. The only spirits that's got in there are the ESPs I loaded with. Ing gives Isabel a look of deep sadness. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing does not mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but at least I can prove they have an effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that. Bullshit. Isabel glances at you, jerking a thumb towards Zhang. This guy treats drones like they're living things. Is that right? Seng extends his arms, palms up. As you watch, the tattoos therein shift into a complex mathematical formula. I am the first and glorious servo. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The blessed Autofab is my shop and purview, where we make the drones we use and sell. Really, what a fascinating and spiritual spin on things. Rector turns his head towards Tang, sorry. I'd be interested in hearing more about your philosophy once you're done with the job. I think I might find your perspective to be very interesting. As for me, I serve as the resplendent voltage spike. Yep, smiles crookedly. That means I shoot people who try and screw with us. It's a fancy title for head of security. That's it for now. It might be wise to ask the residents of Whampoa Garden if they've seen or heard everything after you've gone to Tong's sensory carnival. They may have seen or heard things we have not. Good to know. Can we go into places now and talk to people? No one in here. Nothing in there. It wants us to go outside, I think. There's nothing to interact with in here. It's weird. Usually you get a bunch of things to do, but I guess not yet. Maybe we will after we go investigate the garden. Outside. Okay, so there's the sensory carnival. We can go in there. Let's look around, see if there's anything else. Might be a very linear quest. I didn't actually want you to change directions, I wanted you to go around the corner. Still nothing down here? Really? Weird guy standing in the alley. Alright, fine, we'll go into the building. Maybe then we'll get the ability to do other things. Porter Lamb, at your service. The elders told me that you'd be coming. They tell you what happened to Tong? Just the basics. Well, nothing's basic about this. I've seen people shot, stabbed, beaten to death. Hell, I've seen a corpse that was so dry and desiccated I could have sworn a vampire got to it. None of that's got anything on this. Brace yourself and go on in. Tong's sensory carnival looks like the scene out of a B-grade slasher sim. The cloying scent of incense hangs thick and pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine in the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, there's nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Sorry, had a hiccup. Despite the ragged remnants of Elder Tong littering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order, at least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. As you're about to step further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drying blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well. Well, let's go check out the body first and foremost. Step in the blood. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face would barely be recognizable, and what is left of his body would be described as savage. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remains of the Whampoan elder. The Whampoan's clothing has all but been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears, apparently sustained during the flaying. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body in a semblance of human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Gobbet puts hand on her mouth, speaking in an uncharacteristically serious tone. Sweet heaven, Eltimar, I haven't seen anything like that since Auntie Wong tried to stash some cred sticks in a devil rat's nest. Takes a lot to turn my stomach, but we sure have a winner today. This is seriously messed up. Curious. The removal of the skin speaks to a deliberate pathology, some manner of serial killer, but the severed limbs seem much more savage. You have to be very strong to tear those off. Rector glances at the body impassively. Look, parts of him are missing. That's very curious. Assess the body, Gobbet. You're the boss man. This is going to be unpleasant. Gobbet closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. After a moment, she opens them again and makes a strange grunting noise. There's no fear here, Eltimar. No anger either. Just this kind of satisfied feeling. Tong never saw it coming. And whoever did it was professional about it, which is pretty odd because nobody's professional about eviscerating a body as far as I know. You think it was a hit? I don't know why the killer was after Tong, but it definitely wasn't any kind of mindless creature, or even someone particularly passionate. It was somebody who planned this and executed it and was glad about it. I don't know, it kind of feels like it was just business as usual. Rector takes his time examining the body, taking small notes on his PDA. Curious, no subdermal bruising where the skin's been removed, no sign of a struggle, coagulation of blood and lividity, marks time of death between an hour and 2 and 4 hours ago. The knife marks are methodical. The killer doesn't seem to have an interest in preserving the skin as any kind of whole. It was removed a bit like one fillets a fish. The path of least resistance. Some of the strips of skin have a more ragged edge than others. The ragged edge appears to be consistent with a claw rather than a blade. Rector makes a curious noise as he examines the remnants of Tong's face and neck. His neck's been severed between the 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae. Scoring across the bone indicates a bladed weapon, and a sharp one at that. Doesn't match any of the other wounds. Rector stands and looks you directly in the eye. If I had to guess, I'd say he was killed with a blow to the back of the neck. Everything else was subsequent damage. Why would someone kill him then skin him? Honestly, I have no idea. Perhaps whatever did the rest of the damage was secondary, an action of opportunity, or the like. Without further information, I'm not comfortable guessing. Okay, let's leave the body alone. There's a bloody well, apparently. I think it's supposed to be a wall, but whatever. The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, most of which was hardened into a crusty, coagulated, congealed paste. Thick tracks of it had run laterally. It looks like the blood had been deliberately smeared. These blood patterns aren't natural, Eltimar. The smearing here wasn't done by Tong. There's too much blood. The killer must have spread the blood across the walls deliberately. Why? Perhaps they're like many serial killers. They see their actions as a ritual or as a work of art, and the victim's body was the medium in which they were working. Or maybe they're just crazy. Man, I've seen a lot of crazy people in my life, but I've never seen anyone crazy enough to think that they were going to make a Mona Lisa out of someone's teeth and guts. Thank the heavens for that, too. Oh, it was bloody wall. It's early. Ignore me. It does bloody well. Oh, dear. It's that kind of a morning, I guess. There's a SimSense editor, a desk safe. Let's do the desk safe first of all. Why not? Tong's desk drawers are open, and the safe that's built into one side has been opened. There's no sign of tampering, and the green light next to the word unlocked is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did so with a key fob. Inside there are several blank cred sticks, but no sign of any with money on them. Looks like someone looted his stash. A guy like this wouldn't keep only cred sticks in his safe. Someone stole my payday. Search the bathroom. Tong's bathroom is immaculate, and the drains are tiny. Whatever killed him didn't exit through here. This is a Yamaha 95,000 V-Sim synth, a device for mixing and mastering SimSense chips. Several drive bays are empty, and all the chip jacks are empty. The screen is flashing a repeated error message. Warning, requested files cannot be found. Please return drives to bay and try again. Isabel, this is you. Isabel rattles out some commands on the SimSense keyboard, stepping away after a few seconds with a look of satisfaction on her face. There, I put the drive warning on suspend. It's in diagnostic mode only, though. Maybe we'll learn something, maybe not. Yamaha SimSense... or SimOS 5.23, system diagnosis check, memory okay, drive error, assist bus okay, beginning core dump, please wait. Isabel studies the screen in detail as letters and numbers scroll by. It looks like Tong was cooking some BTLs down here. He's hacked the peak controller, output cutoffs, the delta levels on the sim chips are usually about 4 to 5, 6.5 for Calhots, His delta peaks are pushing 12, that's brain burning territory, Eltimar, and all the drives and chips on these BTLs were stored on are missing. I never liked Tong, but it wasn't because he was a bad guy. I just didn't like any of the elders. But he was cooking chips at Delta 12. Maybe he burned somebody he shouldn't have, or maybe they flipped their lid and came after him. Or a relative did. Isabel gives you a serious look, tipping her head at the synth. The metahuman brain can't handle this kind of output. It'll shut down after a few of these. Alright. Where are we at now? Wait to search for the killer. Okay, let's go back outside. Although we are running out of time on this video now, so we're going to have to call it here. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time. Take care.